Okay.
What it is?
Nothing
Order out
real
of
much.
chaos, chaos out of order.
Saturday Night Lights. Damn, I didn't finish rolling my joint.
Oh, you can go ahead and finish.
Okay. Well, it's been one hell of a week. Relax. Good shit. Well, throw some tunes on in the back.
You said what?
Put a tune on in the back.
What it is, y'all? Y'all come on in. It's gonna be a good show. What it is? What it is?
Here we go. We're coming. We're coming. We're coming. We're coming. Okay. I'm here.
Right.
Saturday Night Lights.
Yeah, we in here.
Yeah. I'm back. We're back.
Another Saturday night. Off a
Another Saturday.
hiatus of last week.
Yeah. Last week was something else. Had to go through a little bit of adversity, but I made it through.
I mean, at the end of the day, adversity is
Makes you,
necessary. We
hell
we
yeah. Makes
at
you
the end of the
stronger.
day, that's the downfall of this society. or most people in the society, that they think there is no consequences for the degenerate behavior, right?
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? You got a rude awakening coming, America.
Yeah, these
You got a
these
rude
fools are out
awakening,
of control.
and you deserve it.
Yeah. But the problem is we're all held hostage with them though. We're
You said,
also we're also connected together that it's gonna affect all of us.
yeah, of course, but at the end of the day, it's like that's more of that humanity stuff speaking, though.
Let's take this shit. Okay.
I think
Well,
we got to go
time
ahead
for
and get
the
them on right quick because I got a lot to get into tonight.
okay. The new epoch of the gods. Through the power, force, might, and will of the great nothingness of the almighty powers, the great nothingness of almighty flow. The great nothingness of infinite beingness, of infinite, endless, limitless, invisible light from which comes the absolute all. All that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into realization, actualization, and form as we are now willing commanded to be, is now. Being and becoming an active force of higher consciousness and an active force of infinite intelligence within us all now. Being and becoming the great primordial dragon god sun Kundalini flames now, whirling and ascending up our spines from our root chakra to our central heart chakra and on up to our royal crown chakra, igniting our royal crown chakra, illuminating our first eye, our Lord Aminel Drakra, our hidden priestly grandmaster magi dragon god son king and queen, igniting all of the 72 chakras in our first eye, our 72 primordial dragon god son kings and queens, and all of our legions of 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 armies 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 of armies. Now, willing all of the forces, elements, essences, powers, dark matter, and dark energy within the absolute all into being and becoming all of our will servants, serving all of our will's objectives, intentions, and desires. Crystallizing them all into physical realization, actualization, and form as we are now willing commanded to be. Now, being and becoming an active force of higher consciousness, being and becoming an active force and an active source of supernal light and supernal energy that we're now using to unlock and activating all of our junk DNA, returning it all back online within us all now through the black dot within our first eye, universe B. Now, increasing the vibratory rate of our entire being up higher and higher and higher, changing every atom and subatomic particle of matter within our entire beingness into a new primordial chaos out of order being of higher manas, the master manifester of reality and beingness, manifesting into our reality and beingness a new and greater mind connected to Atma, the Most High, while pulling in unlimited supernal light and energy from right out of Atma into our higher and lower manas and on down into our physical reality, manifesting it here as all of the substance that we need now to take total control of our reality in this matrix through the knowledge of our true, higher, and lower inner selves. As we begin as we begin to learn how to magnetically reattach all of our junk DNA back together again, empowered by the supernal light and in supernal energy of Atma control through higher manas, to begin phasing in universe A, the world to come, while phasing out universe B, the world being and becoming destroyed now, by raising the vibratory rate up so high until it began to awaken and igniting all of the divine sparks in this matrix, one by one, all going supramental consciousness together, bypassing all of their humanity, completely destroying the solutionary matrix at once. Being and becoming pure supernal energy, vibrating higher and higher and higher, being and becoming more massive than the sun, until we suck the entire sun and solar system into our supernal darkness and supernal light, collapsing this entire space-time continuum into our supernal energy as it continues to vibrate faster and faster and faster until it implodes and explodes, forming into universe B, the world to come, on a new earth, expressed in its most grandest grace and beauty in universe A, in universe beauty, in a universe now built on the foundation and fabric of divine love, peace, justice, harmony, and balance, as all of the souls come together to celebrate the great feast and grand festival of the new epoch of the gods. Through the power, force, might, will of the great nothingness of the almighty powers of the great nothingness of almighty flow, the great nothingness of infinite beingness, of infinite, endless, limitless, invisible light, from which comes the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being to become realized into realization, actualization, and form as we are now willing commanded to be. Abracadabra, ashe.
Presto changeo.
Yep. Want to do the libations, or you want to go on?
Got to do the libations, man.
Okay.
I mean, I know how I study the science so much, bro,
Mm-hmm.
that I know how important cultivating energy is.
Yes, very important.
Got to cultivate the energy because really that's the essential. That's essentially what we're experiencing.
Yeah, that's how we manifest the reality that we want, by cultivating the energy that give us the strength or the ability to be able to manifest that. Okay, crown chakra day libations. Aim the nothingness, ashe. Aim soft, the infinite, ashe. Ain soft or the infinite light, ashe. Adam, Adam Catman, Atik Yaman, the ancient of ancients, the most ancient of days, the primordial Christ, ashe.
Ashe.
Atik Yaman, Arik Yampin, the big face, ashe. Atsilith, emanations, the supernal universe, manifesting as our holy, divine, infinite, magical names, ashe. The
Ashe.
cosmic Christ, ashe.
Ashe.
The great abyss of gnosis, manifesting as the crown of Zeramp and the small face, the indwelling Christ, ashe.
Ashe.
Korea, form, creation, and paradise, manifesting as our holy, divine, infinite, magical, dark archangels and demons, ashe.
Ashe.
Yetzirah, formation, manifesting as our holy, divine, infinite, magical orders of dark angels and demons, ashe.
Ashe.
Akhira, the actual physical world in the making, manifesting as our holy, divine, infinite, magical, earthly kingdom, ashe.
Ashe.
Yeshida, the holy, divine, infinite, magical, divine spark, manifesting as our holy, divine, infinite, magical will, ashe. Heya, our holy, divine, infinite, magical life force, manifesting as our holy, divine, infinite, magical desire, ashe.
Ashe.
Neshama, our holy, divine, infinite, magical, heavenly soul, manifesting as our holy, divine, infinite, magical, heavenly thoughts, ashe.
Ashe.
Ruach, our holy, divine, infinite, magical soul, manifesting as our holy, divine, infinite, magical words spoken through us, ashe.
Ashe.
Nephish, our holy, divine, infinite, magical, earthly soul, manifesting into realization, actualization, and form as we are now willing commanded to be, ashe.
Ashe.
Cather, the crown, ashe. Well,
Ashe.
Kepler, the supernal crown, Ashe.
Ashe.
Hakma, wisdom, the supernal father, Ashe.
Ashe.
Banu, understanding and intelligence, the supernal mother, Ashe. Da,
Ashe.
the great abyss of gnosis, Ashe.
Ashe.
Kased, mercy, Ashe. Gavura, judgment, Ashe. Tiferet, beauty, Ashe.
Ashe.
Netzer, victory, Ashe. Ha,
Ashe.
glory, Ashe.
Ashe.
Yesod, foundation, Ashe. Malkut, the kingdom,
Ashe.
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 Power, force, and might, will of the great nothingness of the almighty powers of the great nothingness of almighty flow. The primordial cosmic flower blooming the absolute all into being. Ashe.
Ashe. Order out of chaos beings. Ashe. Uh,
Ashe.
the beyond gods. Ashe.
Ashe.
Um, the negas. Ashe.
Ashe.
Um, Lucifer. Ashe.
Ashe.
Sekhmet. Ashe.
Ashe.
Empress. Ashe.
Ashe.
Isis. Ashe.
Ashe.
Cyrus. Ashe.
Ashe.
Destiny. Ashe.
Ashe.
And all the gods known and unknown, all the goddesses known and unknown.
Ashe.
Yeah, yeah. The energy cultivation is so important in your life. Period. I mean, you should be doing these things in your life. You should create rituals that are based in your studies of the ancient cosmologies, mythologies, mythos. You know what I'm saying? You have to create your own energy sphere. You're creating your own. You're instead of letting your energy be dictated by social engineering programming, you
Uh-huh.
are creating the energy. You're cultivating your own energy,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
This is a lot of why the spiritual warfare is being lost by those of the righteous. You know what I'm saying? And with that roll with my art, those who roll with my art, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Is the balance is off right now, and it's only because the balance within you is off, right?
Yeah, because they're not pulling in energy. You got to
Well,
pull the
I don't think we fully. Well, this society is going out its way to inhibit our superpowers.
actually is making us give up our superpowers. It's
I
making us
mean,
give.
that's part of inhibiting them because we don't even
Yeah,
can recognize them. Once you don't recognize them, they go in dormant stage.
yeah. In fact, it's not even relevant to most people.
I mean, they so caught up in third dimensional orientation to
And
where
then,
now that's like, and that's kind of what the demiurge matrix or trap for your soul is just orientated to materialism, superficial, shallow as existence, mundane existence. You 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 deemed yourself or you rendered yourself nothing more than background or what they call automaton.
oh well, now they have a new religion coming, a new gospel coming, the gospel of AI.
Oh yeah, the metaverse. Oh yes, it's gonna they are the implications of it is not even the implications of it to me are not even being considered in its full ramifications. I think we glancing over what they're actually doing. This is one of their biggest attempts to bring forth certain entities, right?
Well, actually, it's these entities using us to bring forth them.
My same thing, same.
Hmm.
As above,
Yeah,
so below. But
yeah,
yeah, but they're working heavily trying to bring forth because what happens is once we have given up our existence as this is, and it's crazy because it's playing out just like Sophia Stewart predicted it. It's playing out just like Sophia Stewart predicted it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like she foreseen all of this happening exactly how it's playing out in actual reality in real time.
Mm.
And that's crazy because it appears like the universe always give us insight and hints. We
Mm-hmm.
choose to, as a society, ignore this. And the people who were speaking these prophecies, these people who are, they basically called them witches and killed them.
Yeah. Yep. That's the agents within the system killing off Zion.
Yeah.
Killing. Yeah. Yeah. The system it tries it protects itself. It defends itself. It has agents that it can activate to carry out its will.
The problem is that so many people are vibrating so low without recognition of self that they're able to use these automatons, like I just explained, just
Yep.
your family. This is
Mm-hmm.
why that whole family stuff is just nonsense, bro. Nonsense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, to humanity, it may mean something, but to your soul, it's nonsense. It's
Yeah.
bullshit.
I mean, yeah, I mean, family, if they're on the right, we kind of need family right now because things are going to go crazy. You need your family. You guys, the family, get together and come up with a plan to, make a move to 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 become a survival group in this situation that we're going through right now, or what we're headed into.
It sounds good, but take it from somebody who's been advocating that amongst the community for over 20 years now. And they're just not interested in anything off the grid. They're not interested in recognizing that they're being socially engineered into working against their own best interest. They're not interested in this stuff. I speak to it all the time, and it's like for over 20 years now, I've been speaking to the fact that we're in a matrix. Even before I seen the movie Matrix, I was speaking of this shit. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And it's crazy how the mass majority of people are just satisfied with sensory perception indulgence. That's it. That's all they want. Sensory
Yeah.
perception indulgence, right? And that's lower vibrational stuff. So it's like once you start speaking higher vibrational stuff, just a glimpse of the higher vibration, glimpses of heaven blind these people because they're so like, the saying, the truth hurts.
Yeah.
No, the truth hurt those who are in denial of it for so long that they become so sensitive to it.
Yeah. Yeah. They're so far away from that reality, and they know it, and they know the reality that they're focused on is really not a reality. It's a delusion.
They're the whole sense. This is why mental health is a big issue, and we looking at it like, oh, the people who are readily or obviously demonstrating these psychologies, this psychosis of mental health problems, right? That's
Hmm.
the only thing, but the whole society is sick. The
Hmm.
whole society. So
The
it's like
whole.
I've always thought like a psychiatrist, right, is irrelevant in a society where everyone is insane. How do you justify your insanity as a psychiatrist? And when you are readily indulging in a society that's clearly insane,
Hmm.
and you just accepted that though. you're insane too, right? We if we don't clearly recognize that this society is insane, wouldn't that make you insane too?
Mm-hmm.
So you feel me? So
Well, that
we
makes
talking
you
about
in
mental health
denial.
issues. We talking about mental health issues, but the first diagnosis got to be on the society itself.
Yeah, as a whole, it's society that's producing these.
Sick
This,
people.
yeah.
Yes,
So it's society itself that's sick.
exactly. But we want to diverge to just individuals. And that's
And
another
then,
thing. Hyper individualism. The thing about it is, you saw how you just said, yeah, we need family and all. That's another thing that I have been preaching for over 20 years, brother. They're
mhm.
not interested. They're not interested, bro.
No, they're not. Yeah,
They're
they're
not
not
interested.
interested.
They're
But
not interested in
on a
unity.
humanity
They're not
level.
interested in it. They're not even interested in the prospect of us being independent from the system that has obviously subjugated us. They're not interested in that, bro. They don't want to do this. That's not their interest. Their
Well, I
interest
agree
is
with
to
you on
get
that.
their interest is to get better treatment in a society that's clearly defranchised them.
Mm,
That's their answer to everything. I swear to God, they don't want. And it's crazy because it's coming to the point where, well, I have been a loner for years.
hmm.
I've been a loner for years because no one is thinking about the stuff I'll be thinking about.
Yeah.
That and it, and appear the stuff that I'll be thinking about is like, it's obvious this should be our move, but no one is operating on obviousness. They're not operating on what's obvious.
Because the system won't allow that. It won't allow them to see they might see the obvious, or it might come across their mind, but then something in the system will override it.
I think this is what I think it is. I think the mass majority are under the programming that they look at people who telling you or who have a connection to reality. So because I've done this other examination of it, right? Is that you got objective reality, then you got subjective reality, right?
Hmm.
Objective reality could be considered more a masculine thing because most men are objective. They rarely are subjective. You could get men that are subjective too, but they're rarely subjective. Women, on the other hand, are more subjective, right? This is
Okay.
why they operate on what could be on a pole in opposed to men who operate on what is.
Okay. Yeah.
So the dynamics of that is when and we I can solve the whole battle of the sexes by giving people that understanding of that energy, the masculine feminine energy, and how we complement each other. We're not the
Hmm.
same. We complement each other, and if we can get just that simple understanding of the energies down, that can solve a gang of problem in society right there. And it's like they're not interested in these higher understandings of things. Not like risk. I rarely get people who really want to study, who really want to do any research outside of what they've seen on the news, bro.
Mm, mm.
So it's hard to talk to people like you don't do nothing. You don't cultivate your own thinking process. You just are a willing vessel for any spirits that want to inhabit your fucking because you don't it's a dim light basically unless other than that there's a dim light there, man. Like it's crazy how many dense dim lights out here, but then it's also crazy that the mass majority of people are their light is getting brighter now.
Hmm.
Their light is getting brighter now too. I see that too. So I don't want to just think about all of the degenerate low vibrational stuff going on, but what about the higher vibrational stuff going on too? Like it's a lot of people who are recognize another higher vibrational aspect of this shift in reality is that the truth can't be, the lies can't hide no more. You
No.
can't, all the lies are exposed now. You can't lie no
If you're
more.
still asleep, if you're still asleep, then you got to be like one of the.
You
You got
are
to.
under the spell of the Matrix, bro. If
Yeah.
you watch it's crazy because the Matrix described it perfectly. The Matrix described it. That's why I advocate that movie. Please go watch it. I advocate it because they described it perfectly on what we're looking at is a gang of people who don't realize their potential, who don't realize, so they reduce themselves. It's an inhibiting chip, like it's an inhibitor chip, right? So
Mm-hmm.
everyone is walking around like they're nothing, they're inferior. They walking around with this low self-esteem, and it's really this is why classism was actually able to classism and the chattel systems and stuff, the slave systems that were already are actually chattel systems. They play all these chattel systems play off of insecurity that they see within society because they engineered it by lack of knowledge. They these when we went when the Moors brung Europe out of the Dark Ages, right? Why were they in the Dark Ages? Because they had decreed certain things as being unlawful, like reading, like also going into higher sciences was outlawed,
Mm-hmm.
right? You could actually die if you was practicing higher science, even speaking higher science.
But they were doing it. The aristocrats, they were
Of
doing it.
course, of course, of course, of course, of course. But I'm trying to make a point though. They were inhibiting the masses to recognize their power then. And
Yeah.
that's the
Well, that's
same thing happening today.
and why were they doing
It's
that?
just this is just a sophisticated tyranny that they're
Yeah.
applying.
Why were they doing that? To stay in power. So
Of
that to
course.
make sure the people won't rise up and take them out of power.
Right,
Because
because knowledge, once people start recognizing, but guess what? That's crazy because I advise people to go study the fallen angel story. Go study the fallen angel stories because that cultivated and it culminated into a war between heaven and earth and hell.
hmm
Why? Because Lucifer, who was a general in God's army, and I mean not God's army, but I think he was a general in God's army too. Satan was a general in God's army too. He was one of his highest angel, if I'm not mistaken, right?
hmm
So he also, because he didn't agree with God, which y'all call God or the Most High. See, y'all attribute this attribute or this prestige to that entity. So now that's a placeholder for your respect for a higher entity.
yeah.
That's a dollar broth though.
All right. Enlil. All right. So many.
Right.
He has so many names.
Look. That's crazy because go watch that movie, American Gods. They explain all of why the gods thirst for human affection. I mean, not affection, but human affection too, but human
Attention.
attention. Attention. They fiend over that. That's their
Because they feed
currency.
off.
That's their
They
currency,
yeah. They. hmm
right? And when I'm saying God, of course, why? How do we know that the God of the Bible is a dollar broth? Because he said he is a jealous God, right? He is a
Yeah.
jealous God. Now, you got to understand the hierarchy of gods. There are demigods and there are higher gods. There are gods that are lower vibrational than other gods.
Well, yeah, of
Right?
course.
So it's a hierarchy in that, right? So
Hmm.
how does humanity know that we're not dealing with a lower vibrational god?
But see, but at the same token, though, I'm a jealous God, and there's no other God above me. Can also be your higher self talking too.
Of course, but that's a higher science. We talking about from the perspective of those who are dealing with that same
On the
concept, but
religious
they
level.
can't be introduced to that until they understand this basic lesson principle, this basic principle of that cultivation of energy. Right?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have to. Yeah, before
It's a
they can get
ladder
that.
step. It's a step ladder. You can't introduce people to higher science unless you initiate them in a sense of introducing certain concept and then gradually creating a rapport about the science. Like, okay, you understand this. I see. You understand this. So on this show, of course, we go hardcore because at the end of the day, that's what we've put ourselves out there to do, to just really just put it on the line. And we're not trying to initiate anyone into this right now.
No.
You know what I'm saying? We're just coming
Yeah.
straight from our studies, you know what I'm saying, what we've concluded and developed over time of studying
Hmm.
this stuff, right? So it's like raw. It's not
We're sharing.
unapologetically raw. It's unapologetically raw. And if you want explanation for what we're saying, you would have to go into a lot of reference points that I would have to give you before. It ain't you're not going to get this overnight, and I
Yeah.
understand it. I'm appreciative of that process, bro, because it's a very
Yeah. In
interesting
fact.
process. And the crazy thing about it, that process right there is the process of actually realizing what's going on. That self-realization process there that
Hmm.
produces that right there produces variations, and that produces variations in the energy that they be surprising a lot of times when people, because you can have somebody, they could probably die this lifetime, come back, they can die this lifetime, come back, and then have it in that lifetime. They probably did it probably what 100 times already
Well,
before
12.
they actually realized.
They say we go through this 12 times. We go through our 12 zodiacs.
But within those 12, there are other um, sub existence within those, though. So
Hmm.
yes, there's 12, but there are sub existence within those existences. Is what I'm saying. I forgot
Well,
the actual name for that. But
yeah,
this
okay.
is this is explaining all of the alternate realities that simultaneously exist with this one.
Well, okay, for instance, like chakras. Every 7 years you go through a chakra. So the first 7 years of your life is the red chakra. Okay, so the first year is the root of the red. The second year is the orange of the red. The third year is the yellow of the red. The fourth year is the heart of the red.
But what I
The
recognize is everyone has their own process, is what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, some people, they evolve to the next chakra, right? But they still
Mhm.
don't recognize. They still don't recognize. They can evolve to the next chakra and still don't recognize.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we all
Meaning
do.
the energy is evolving, but they just not really getting it yet.
They're not aware. Yeah,
Right.
but
The energy is evolving though.
yeah, the energy. Yeah, the energy. Yeah, it's evolving because we're all going through this. Just not everybody's not aware of it.
That's my point. My point exactly. My point
Hmm.
exactly. So everyone
Yeah,
going through the energy of evolution and which the spiritual energy, same thing. Everyone's
yeah.
going through the evolution, but it's like everyone's not recognizing it.
Me, I'm fortunate. to have experienced all 7 chakras, going through each 7 sub, or you can say it's almost like sub races, the 7 sub races. Well, I've been through the 7 chakras, the root, the yellow, I mean the orange, the yellow, the green, all the way to 50. I think at 56, that's when you complete all 7 chakras. And then once you complete all 7,
the age 56.
yeah, yeah, 7 times 7 times 7 times 7, 7 times 7. Wait, 50. Wait, what's 7 times 7? 49. Yeah, 56.
Wow.
Yeah, at 56, I completed all 7. Now at 58, I'm 2 years beyond my 7th chakra.
Right, the crown.
Yeah, I'm 2 years beyond the crown. I'm up there in the silver chakra. And the great thing about it, shit, I completed all 7, and I still pretty much have my youth left.
I mean, this is that energy taking effect, because I look way younger than I actually am too, and I understand that that's like that immortal. That's that immortal energy coming on, coming on.
That Highlander energy.
Right.
Yeah, you remember the movie The Highlanders?
Right. Oh yeah, I love that. I mean, I was obsessed with that Highlander shit, man. That shit was because it spoke to certain understanding that I was studying at the time. Like I've been studying like superpowers, bro. I studied superpower for a while, so that's why I'm so versed in understanding of the mythos and how it really is speaking of the energy in humanity, the power of humanity.
Yeah, I've experienced the power of my power, my inner power,
Divine
week, and through the adversity that I went through. I mean, I had to make a move last week, and I didn't have access to none of my money. I couldn't get nothing out the bank because I had to wait for the shit to clear. Couldn't get nothing on my trading account because I had to wait for that to clear. And I was like stuck in limbo, but I got through it.
Yeah, the only thing that sets apart other those are those who can handle adversity and those who fall under adversity.
And not only that, but I've done a full circle. I'm back at the place where I started doing my first rituals, where I even came into the energy of flow.
And then when you look back at stuff like that, that's a synchronicity moment too. Is when you realize that you are doing the pattern of your evolution. You're realizing the pattern of your evolution through those synchronicities. Like you come full circle and you like, damn, because some people are just living their existence and not paying attention to that. That's what I mean. You're not paying attention to what's going on. There's omens happening. There are synchronicities happening. There are, like, for example, in my life, I always seem to look up and it's 33, 333, or 12, or 1233. Or it just, I always look at the clock when it's around 3-3.
3-3. Okay.
Yeah, 33.
33
So,
degrees.
and then I was like, that shit playing out in my energy. And then I studied it and I was like, the 33 is a God frequency. You know what I'm saying? It's a confirmation, right, from the higher self.
And that's where Kemet's at, the 33rd parallel.
Right. And the thing about it is, all of the architects in the Western world is set up on that same science too.
Yep.
Because I live down the street from 33rd Street.
Oh, okay.
Right? And 33rd Street is actually set up like some type of parallel. It's set up. It is set up Masonically because guess what's on the street on 33rd Street? The Theosophical Center.
Oh, the Theosophical Center. Oh,
yeah,
shit.
It's right on 33rd Street.
Damn.
So yeah, they know the science, bro. They know how to set things up. Like they know the science of setting up things based on the heavens. So like they really own that shit. And this whole area is really energetically active as hell as it pertains to them setting up things based on the science that our ancestors gave them on how to set up architect based on the Western world. Basically, they took a Eastern concept that cultivated in the Western world called feng shui. Right, feng shui is basically the same technique the ancestors were using when they set up certain pyramids in certain areas.
Yeah,
it's feng shui, right? Now, when you study the science of feng shui, saying is energy that how to flow the energy in a certain pattern, and let the energy of a room. You can set shit up in feng shui, and it will allow the energy of the room to flow in a certain way. Right. So ultimately, because I've been studying this shit so tough, bro, and ultimately that's exactly what the science. And this is how you know that the people who are trying to deny our claims, which we're not denying, the pale skinned ones who are claiming to be the indigenous people on this landmass, right, which is the old world. We're not denying that their claim, but they're trying to deny our claim and that we're autochthonous, right, which is different than indigenous, because autochthonous are the ones who didn't migrate here. We was always here. Now they can't make that claim. They cannot make that claim. The ones calling themselves Indians today, and if you're calling yourself an Indian, that means you're under the subjugation of the British Crown, because Indians are subject of the British Crown. Yeah. They're subject of the British Crown. I can give you the I gotta bring the reference and stuff, but I can prove what I'm saying.
I was having a conversation, well, turned into a kind of heated debate with this girl, a friend. You know, she reads the Bible a lot, and she really think that all of, Black people are, the Moors here came from Africa, and that we didn't already have a civilization set up here. And she said, where's the signs that we had a civilization set up here that was intact before they came?
Okay, the pyramids, the mounds, the architecture that you see, most of the old ancient architecture that you see, is they covered up a lot of stuff, man. Look at I showed you a picture of a Moorish castle in Compton. It's a Moorish castle in Compton. And that's an old Moorish castle. And then you got architecture all around this mud. We just not paying attention to it. It's there. The signs are there that the civilization was there. It's still there. Let's even go into I just want to stick with the mound system of the Midwest and the pyramid system of Southern and Northern and Southern America. See, we think that northern part of America don't have pyramids too, but they got a gang of pyramids over here too. But those are. Then we can even go into the Olmec heads. We can even go into the sophisticated artifacts that these architects go. I would suggest she go study what's called Forbidden Architect, right? Then it's
Mm-hmm.
another book. It's another book called the dark skinned presence in America in the ancient America. The dark skinned presence in ancient America. That's another book. And
That's
it's
in,
clear. It's clear evidence of civilizations. I'm talking about cities,
yeah.
right? Where it was cities that were, because you know how the lake system, right, in America is very in depth. You got a lot of lakes in certain areas of America, right?
They were really
And
reservoirs.
lakes and lakes, not lakes. I was saying lakes, but rivers, right?
Rivers.
You got a lot of
Yeah.
rivers in certain areas where those were, we have evidence to show that a lot of those were like shipping areas where ships would come from the Atlantic all the way into the land through these lakes,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, through
Rivers.
these rivers. I mean,
But did the
right? Because there
Spanish?
were so many rivers and stuff, and you can still see the evidence of there's a lot of rivers. A lot of this stuff has been terraformed, covered up. It's a lot of stuff that's been covered up, man. A lot of stuff has
But
been covered up.
but was it the Spanish? Did they come over here in a few boats loaded with people and took out a whole civilization?
Somewhat. There were people fighting against the Spanish the whole time. They came, and what happened was because of the way that they came and what they did to us, where they wiped out a lot of us just through diseases. They wiped
Mm-hmm.
out, and it was all systematic germ warfare at early time. They
Mm-hmm.
wiped a lot of us out just with germ warfare a lot. That's how they got their footing here, the Spanish, right?
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? 9 times out of 10, them was Moors too. So you know what I'm saying? So that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's like we have to really
So it
this
was a little
this
black on black crime.
this perspective that we have with history based on how the Western world has covered up so much about it has
Mm-hmm.
led us into debates that were wrong arguments, wrong thinking, wrong premise. Everything is all fucked up. We need to, because when I start speaking to people, they like, what are you talking about? This is not what we've been indoctrinated to talk about.
Yeah. You're
We've been
right.
indoctrinated to talk about we came from Africa and all that stuff. Well, guess
Yeah.
what? Once you say the word Africa, you're talking about a social political program that has been inducted on your ass from your ancestors. Because it wasn't
Yep.
called Africa,
No, it
dumbasses.
wasn't called Africa. It wasn't called Egypt.
It wasn't called Egypt. So what are you talking about? Soon as you say Africa or Egypt, speaking on it in the sense of trying to impose it retrospectively on the people, then I know that you don't understand what you're talking about. And it's hard to talk to people in that respect because when you have a epistemology that is like people don't even understand what epistemology is. It's crazy.
Explain it.
Huh?
Explain it.
I've explained it on the show before, but
Mm-hmm.
epistemology is basically how do you know what you know, right?
Yeah. Oh.
The methodology, it's the methodology of how to, because people are just speaking what has been taught to them.
But
They
see,
don't know
what's
the
crazy?
methodology of figuring out something of truth, right?
But see,
How do you know what you
this.
know? That's epistemology. Epistemology is the science or the methodology of knowing what you know.
I agree. But see, what's funny? It's reverse. They're using that against what we're saying. How do you know what you know when we
Right,
already know
right,
that we
right,
already been
right. We've already
indoctrinated?
been indoctrinated to say this. No,
Yeah.
you've already been programmed to say your responses. Every response you have, I know it because I know the program
Yeah.
thoroughly.
Hmm.
I know the program thoroughly, as though I know every response you're going to give.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like people really don't want to know the truth because I can get to speaking and then people start delving off and it get boring to them, and that's what they've been convinced of in the society, that knowledge is boring. And okay,
Yeah.
we'll see where you end up. We'll see where you end up.
Well, yeah, it's about to get real hectic for everyone. It's about to
Right,
get
and
real.
that's why I keep celebrating that though, bro. Is because people are such degenerates that they all don't think fat meat is greasy. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I love it. I love it. I
Yeah,
love it. I love
I was on ground zero. I spent the night on the orange line this week. Yeah, you have no clue what I seen. I mean, it's a whole nother world out there at night. There's a whole nother world, a whole nother world.
it. Did you hear
Whole,
about those people that in New York that live in the sewers?
I'm not surprised.
It's a whole society down in the sewers, bro. Oh fuck!
Yeah,
I couldn't even conceive of myself ever doing that. That's really a a,
subspecies.
a literal manifestation of hell.
Yeah,
They've
yes,
they've manifested their own hell. Why would you ever want to live down there?
because they can't live up here. They can't function with. They can't function in the light.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a whole new species, a subspecies of beings.
I mean, you don't
Uh,
know what the fuck is going on down up under there, man. And I think it's even deeper than we really would want to even, because it's like this type of stuff. People don't even want to even conceive that it's just that deep. I think that's why people are so resistant to the truth,
mm-hmm.
because it's so fucking deep. The rabbit hole is, man.
But see, what I'm
Wow, the rabbit
seeing,
hole get deep.
I'm from what I'm seeing, this whole other society is going to gobble up parts of regular society.
You said the other society. What you mean by the other society?
The other species of beings,
Oh yeah,
they're
they
gonna.
already eating us. They eating that. They eating humanity while we speak. They're literally eating y'all up. Your
Yeah.
essence. You feel me? They eating your essence up and just leaving you a figment of what you were.
Mm-hmm.
You're just a figment. You're just a vessel, right? There's really no spark there. There's nothing there because it's been drained for the most part.
Yeah.
And they feeding off y'all ignorance. They feeding off you. They love the fact that you're oblivious. They love that you don't recognize your superpowers. They love this shit. Because these entities, these principalities that we're talking about, that the Bible speaks about, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are way more superior than them, and they know it.
Yeah.
So they got to convince you of your inferiority. I swear to God, they do.
And the
You
best way
feel
to
me?
do
They
that is
have to.
convincing you that you're human.
That's the main way. That's the main way they convince you of the bullshit.
Yeah, by convincing you how human you are,
Right.
and that human that you're not in control of nothing.
Listen, bro. This is why I keep trying to get that people. Like the thing about it is, once you get, I be looking at Christians like sharing whenever I got Christian friends or something like that, bro. All I do is share Ray Hagen to them.
Right.
That's all I
Oh
do,
man.
bro.
Oh shit.
Man. You gotta go through that first.
Yeah.
You gotta go through that first.
I would do
Now,
the same
the
thing
reason
too.
why it's not just the fact that Ray Hagen is a theologian. He's a fucking preacher, bro. He went
Yeah.
through all the kind. I love his story because he was just going through all that, and he was just one of those persons who just didn't allow the program to overwhelm all of the truth he was finding out.
Yeah.
Because basically that's what's happening with a lot of people, even scientists. The scientists that choose to tell the truth, they end up dead, broke. No, they don't get no funding. They don't get no funding or nothing.
They become jokes.
Right.
Yeah.
They become Oscar because they know that they are only able to talk about that type of stuff behind closed doors.
In the
They
lodges.
talking about it. They exploring those theories. Don't get it fucked up and act like, oh, because they trying to lock down and control humanity through censorship, right? Through making sure that they just allow certain amount of information to come out, so people don't get some type of idea that energy is free.
Yeah.
Man, it's crazy. And the thing about it is, we're doing it to ourselves, so we can't blame the elitists. They're not doing it. You're doing it to yourself. We doing it. The elitists ain't doing nothing but doing what's in their nature. Period.
Yeah.
They doing what's in their nature.
Which means we got to do what's within our nature. We got to find our nature first. We got to find out
exactly
what the fuck our nature.
What's our true nature? What's our true nature? Right. What is our true nature?
We're super fucking beings. We're supernal beings.
Listen, if they didn't suppress it, everyone would spontaneous combust and bust out of there. Because I think that the phenomenon of spontaneous combust is a spirit that can be contained inside of a human shell, and it busts out.
It reaches a certain critical mass, and then
it busts out. Yeah. Just like in that movie Lucy. You understand me? It critical mass, like you said, and it can't contain realization of data. It becomes you know how you have a device that stores data, but it can only hold so much data. Right? Yeah. To where you got to get a bigger gigs. You got to get more gigs now.
Yep.
I think that's what humanity is going through. We're going it's an upgrade.
Yep.
All of what's contained in this new paradigm or that we're bringing about, because of our inconsistencies, we got to understand that because of inconsistencies, we're bringing about a certain reality.
No,
you're controlling it. You're controlling it whether you're holding the wheel or not.
Well, we're going back into the golden age. Okay, it can't be stopped anyway. This is a part of our evolution anyway. It can't be stopped.
Right.
No matter how much it's being suppressed, it will still break out. It's like water. You can't contain water.
Right. That's exactly how the spirit world describes it too. Anytime you get a dream of a flood, that's talking about the overwhelming energy that's overflowing from one realm to another realm.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. I would even go further into talk saying that is a science in itself on how to maintain these what you call vents of energy. Remember when I was talking about the great attractor and how it's literally venting energy from one reality to another reality, and
Yeah.
that venting of the energy is actually one of the God duties. We are here to make sure there's a balance of that energy, because if it's too much of a certain energy, it overflows and it basically overwhelms. It's like the concept of how antimatter and matter can't coexist in one space,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that flow of energy sometimes is like that too, and it's like you have to vent it from from one space to another space in order for the balance for it to be balanced, the whole cosmic balance to be. And that's what's happening. A lot of stuff is out of balance once it gets to a certain level, and that's necessary. The
Well,
scales
that's
have to be unbalanced for them to come back into balance again.
yeah. Then this world is a good place for that. Well, and
So
then
yeah,
with that being the case, we're we're on schedule because that's what's happening here. Everything becoming unbalanced so it can become balanced again. Well, there's
yes.
definitely the unbalance, and that it's a lot of that.
Oh yeah, very unbalanced. You can even see
Hmm.
what I just said about the battle of the sexes. All that's talking about is how the feminine and the masculine are not complementing each other, but they're opposed to each other.
Yeah, and
They're
that's
not
on, and
complementing each other, they're
that's
opposed
by
to each other.
design. That's by
Right,
design because when they work the same way a battery works. You have the negative
right.
and the feminine side. You put the cable in them, turn it on, you get a shock, you get a spark. They
Right.
both work together and they make a spark. They bring shit to life. I mean,
And
you
that's
can't
another way
run.
that the archons and the demiurge, the archon. This is another way because that connection is being broken. That battle of the sexes is a direct attack on the direct spiritual warfare. Because once we come together, that not only that's not only a recognition. If we ever realize that we need each other and we need to come together and join our energies and fuse our energies into a greater force,
That will poison the
that
arc.
mentality alone is superpower in itself. Like, because not only enhances your superpower, because like I said, we complement each other. You
Yeah.
become stronger by being able to be in a relationship with feminine energy, with
Mm,
feminine energy, a
yeah.
principle, a woman. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's where your greatness comes out of that. And
But see, that energy is
her greatness comes out of getting along with a masculine principle. That's where your greatness comes out of. We're not
but
the
see,
same. And I've noticed that's what's happening a lot of time. People are trying to women because of feminism, which feminism is an attack on this evolution too. Feminism.
yeah, but see, that energy is food for the archon. See, the other energy is poisonous to them. The energy
Yeah. The
is
energy that I'm talking
poisonous.
about is poisonous. The energy that I'm talking about is poisonous to them. You're right.
Yeah. Okay. But the other energy is harmonious to them.
Right. Right.
It's advantageous to them. Okay.
Right.
And that's what they want to promote. That's what they want to farm that energy.
They are farming that energy. You're right.
Yeah, they are. They are
And
farming that.
Monster Inc. If you watch part 2 of Monster Inc., right, they get even deeper into how they're harnessing these emotional reactions. They're harnessing these behavior patterns of humanity. They're harnessing that energy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I was trying to tell people are so into the Illuminati and they don't even understand how are they even harnessing energy. They're doing mass rituals upon you through media, dumbasses.
And not only that, but architect too. The architect, the way these buildings are set up
Oh
is
yeah. That we just discussed that. We just talked about how not only the how they set up the streets and how they set up certain buildings, and they
mhm.
all are setting it up to interrupt the harmonious flow of our rise, which is Sirius rising. See, they thrive when Sirius is what you mean? I think it's waning. When Sirius is waning,
Waxing and waning. Yeah, when it's moving further away.
right?
When
So
it's moving further away from us, but
when
when it's
when it
coming
comes
closer to
closer,
us,
when it comes
if
closer, that's advantageous for us.
yeah, but see, and that's but when our sun and Sirius do come closer for 11,000 years, that's going to be our golden and silver age, and they won't be able to be on the planet here during that time.
Right, because the hyperdimensional vibration it heightens to another thing where because at the end of the day they don't really exist. We're paying attention to them. That's why they even here.
Yeah, and see, then we'll be getting influenced by a greater sun, which will be sending energy here that will be burning off, that'll be reflected through our sun and
Right.
sent here.
There are
And that
there are there are there are sciences, and we got to go because I got to go to the next show. There are sciences that have not even been developed to even because the stuff we be talking about is like in the future they're going to develop science to even have applications to apply the knowledge that we be breaking down. Because
uh-huh.
I just got a revelations of that. I just got a vision of that. The stuff that we be talking about.
Hmm.
They're just now getting to develop sciences that can even explain some of the stuff that we were talking about.
See, we have to beat them to the punch by doing it organically.
Well, we can do it visually too. We can send like I'm saying, I got the visual
Hmm.
confirmation from that actual parallel world. That I got the confirmation. That's a parallel world. You get confirmations like that, and that's a confirmation to say that the potentiality of that is great.
Well, that's where I'm getting at. What I just said from too, from the parallel world, saying that we can apply the same technology organically and beat them to the punch.
I think it is being applied. It's just we have to tap into the organic technology that we are already. We are organic technology,
Yeah, exactly. Well,
and
yeah,
once we
you're right
tap
about that.
into the latent DNA stuff,
Hmm.
that stuff come online and stuff that then we're going to experience. We're going to be doing something totally different. Go
In
watch
fact,
go
we
watch
are
Ben
the
10.
highest.
Go watch Ben 10. That explains a lot of what we're talking about too. Ben 10,
Yeah,
where he got the
yeah.
Omnitrix and he got
Hmm.
all of these different alien DNAs in the Omnitrix, and Omnitrix just gathering all these different DNAs, right?
Hmm.
This shit crazy, bro. And because they're picking up a lot of stuff from the ethers too. That's what all of these cartoons become. I watch a lot of cartoon not just because it's based on their tapping into certain higher realms of thinking and intelligence,
The
and
mental, the higher mental
they put it in
realms
a cartoon
are,
because the normal adult is going to dismiss it,
yeah,
right?
and the kid not too far from. I mean, the kid or the child before they were born, they were in those realms, so
Exactly.
they're still susceptible or awake to those higher realms. They just don't know. They just don't have their memory.
And a lot of times when they're presented to it by the nostalgia of being raised in this society and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
they're more acceptable to allowing their energy over to the society because they got
Yep.
introduced to it by the society, right?
Yep.
Which is another mistake. This is why I promote we create our own autonomy and we operate from that perspective. But that's hard to make. Once this system totally collapse,
Uh-huh.
I'm talking about totally, like, because they're propping it up like they just did with the debt ceiling. I'm gonna end it with. I'm gonna let you say your last word after. They just passed legislation to raise the debt ceiling again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Idiots,
Well,
fucking idiots.
they're turning us into a banana republic.
It's been a banana republic. What you mean turn it in? You
Yeah.
got to go study. You got to go study the banana republican wars in Southern America and
Okay.
how what's destabilizing the whole economy of Southern and America, period, Southern and the Northern America, right, is all of these greedy, cutthroat as exploitation, globalization that happened in North America, the proxy war that they conducted and all that stuff. It goes deep, bro. And this is leading to what we're experiencing today, right?
Yeah.
All of that corruption that had taken place in the early 70s and the late 70s until now.
Yeah, he's right. The United States has a rude awakening. I think the whole world has a rude awakening. Not just the Western, the entire Western world has a rude awakening. The
I
whole
think
West.
I think it's getting its rude awakening. It's just not being. It's not on media, so we don't we don't take notice of how it's happening because people don't rarely pay attention to stuff unless it's coming through the media. We think things are happening when the media tells us it's happening. We don't recognize it happening right in front of our face because we don't believe our own observation. We don't.
Yeah.
We don't believe our own observation. We don't even believe our own
Intuition.
experiments that we can do conduct on our own. You can conduct all these things that they're telling you. A lot of stuff that they're telling you, you can conduct an experiment on your own, and you don't have to be under the subjugation of somebody telling you that.
Yeah.
But we chose to regurgitate. But whatever. Get your last words
Yeah.
in, brother, so I can go and go to the next show.
Well, my last words is again, um, we have the power to manifest. Man, manifest. We are the manifester. That means warping time and space, opening up a hole in time and space, and pulling in the reality that into this reality that we want. And everything else outside of that tunnel or that hole that can't come in there with you unless you want to bring it in there with you. And I don't think you can do that either. Once you open up that hole and you trying to pull in this reality, it's coming.
Is that it?
And adversity helps make it happen.
Exactly. You're right. Is that it?
Because yeah, that's it.
Okay, so yeah, I want to just go on, add to what you're saying about how the power within you, even the suffering that you're going to because of your inactivity in your own power and not recognizing your power,
Mm-hmm.
that's in your hand too. Everything you're dealing with, and this is what the harsh reality that I'm been killed as a messenger for is that I totally speak from the perspective of all of what happens to you is 100% because of you.
I mean, anybody argue with that? They're they're willingly giving control over to something else. They say, "I'm not going to take total control and responsibility of my life. I'm not
But
going to be the God of my life.
exactly. See, that's the key
I
to
will
what
allow
I'm saying,
myself to be
is that they're
susceptible.
not taking the responsibility of being God of self.
Yeah,
They're
when
not
you
taking
do that,
it. You're giving over. You're relinquishing because you're still relinquishing over that power to something else. The
hmm
power is with you. You don't see, y'all seem to realize, okay, just because I believe in a God, you're just relinquished over the power that you have to a God and believing in a
yeah,
God. That's all you.
yeah,
And you think,
and hope that he going to give you something in return, or he's going
and
to
no,
bless you.
it's really not even that, bro. It's really, I don't want to be totally responsible for this. So let me play myself. Let me play this game and create an imaginary friend and say, oh no, he's responsible. That's why they always talk about, it's all in God's hands. Nah, because you don't want to take responsibility. Period. Period.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah, and God's going to punish you for for uh, for messing with them or whatever, or and they expect some God to come down here and just to make everything right for them.
But guess what? They not gonna do right otherwise. That's the decision they made. When it's obviously we can clearly make obvious changes in the way we do things and change the whole paradigm. But we choose to say, when God get here, it's gonna change. Okay, go ahead. Do you? Do you? I'm
Yeah,
not arguing with nobody no more. Do you?
yeah,
I
yeah,
all my look, all I know is when it comes to knowledge and knowing what you know, history is
hmm
best qualified to tell you who's right and who's wrong, right? But
hmm
also, guess what?
What?
We'll see what you how you operating play out for you in the next 10 to 20 years. We'll see
Yeah.
how that play out for you. Keep on operating the way you are. Keep that same. I tell people, I be telling people, keep that same energy. Keep that same energy.
10, 20 years, I can't even see that far. I mean, and when I do look that far, the only way, I mean, oh my God, you better have it together because you
Well,
won't
10,
be able
20
to.
years now, we're going to be totally indulged in that higher vibration to where this is going to be all of this reality that we're moving out of, universe A, and
Mhm.
we're moving into universe B.
Yeah.
We're moving out of. It's going to be a glimpse memory. This is what the Mandela effect is speaking of. It's trying to give you an idea of. All of this is going to be a glimpse memory. It's nothing more than a series of things that never happened anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Series of events that never occurred.
Yeah. So with
hmm
that, I'll see y'all next weekend. I
Okay.
hope hopefully the brother, yeah, if you want to come on, you gonna be coming on, brother, next week.
Yeah.
Right. Let's do that.
uh Yeah.
See, we
Um,
see we confirm. We don't leave it up to the. I don't leave it up to the stars and the gods and nothing. I am God. I tell you, I confirm what the hell gonna happen. I'm gonna
yeah.
tell
You
you what's gonna
confirm
happen.
with the yeah.
But
With, yeah.
and
You
that's the
confirm it.
power that we're trying to say that you have, but you don't want it. You want to hand it over to somebody else. So do you? But we'll see y'all next weekend. Peace.
Yep.
Chaos.
Chaos.
Chaos. Peace.
Light and darkness.